Stephen King. Either you like his books or you don't, but chances are you've at least seen one or two of his book adaptations. Whether it's a TV show, an Oscar-winning movie.
Don't put that thing over my face. Don't put me in the dark. I was afraid of the dark.
Or a straight-to-DVD horror flick. The majority of King's books are horror stories, and unfortunately when adapted to a movie, those are usually very low budget. But we're lately seeing a revival of Stephen King adaptations, and they're finally getting the attention they deserve. Even the Netflix show Stranger Things was inspired by that whole small-town 80s mystery horror thing that King is known for. Like the upcoming movie It. The trailer already looks incredibly scary. It took me right back to when I first saw the miniseries back in the early 90s. And except for Tim Curry, who was great as Pennywise the Clown, it doesn't really hold up today. Trust me, I rewatched it recently, it doesn't hold up. But the remake is definitely a good example of what could be done with this older content. Another thing I'm super psyched about is the upcoming Dark Tower movie, which stars Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba. And there's even talks of another Creepshow in the making. I mean, how cool is that? The point is, King has returned with a vengeance. So here's a couple of movies and TV shows based on a Stephen King novel that I'd like to see done again. Number 1. Firestarter. This was basically a story about people with psychic abilities. You can even say mutants. The story is about a couple that participates in an experiment that eventually gives them psychic powers. They have a kid named Charlie, played by a very young Drew Barrymore, and she has the ability to set things on fire with her mind. Naturally, a government agency wants to kidnap her to run some tests, so they fight back and run. We've seen this smaller personal mutant story already work with Logan, so this could be a great remake if done correctly.
Alright, stand by. We're ready when you are, Charlene.
Number 2. Silver Bullet. Okay, this is a Paramount movie, so I can't show you guys any pictures or footage because Paramount will flag this video. Anyways, this is another one of those movies that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid, but doesn't really hold up today. It's about a small town that starts to get a lot of murders. Corey Haim plays this kid in a wheelchair, and together with his sister and his alcoholic uncle Gary Busey, they discovered that the people are being murdered by a werewolf. It's been a while since we've seen a really good werewolf movie, so this would be a great opportunity to make one. Number 3. The Twilight Zone. I know, the show wasn't written by Stephen King, it was created by Rod Serling, and King only wrote one episode, but I'm gonna use that episode as an excuse to put it in my list because this was one of the best shows on television. The Twilight Zone was like Black Mirror, mostly science fiction, horror, or psychological thriller, and usually with a question about morals and modern society. It ran from 1959 till 1964, and then it was revived 20 years later from 1985 till 1989. And even the old black and white episodes from the 60s are still really good to watch today. That is great writing. This could easily be a new Netflix series. I mean, Netflix has a yearly budget of $500 million for original content. I would love to see a new Twilight Zone with a more modern approach, famous guest directors, and cool cameos. Number 4. The Running Man. So before there were Hunger Games and Battle Royales, there was this little movie about a dystopian future where people were getting killed on live television, starring the king of the cheesy one-liners, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Here is Sub-Zero! Now, Plane Zero!
I must have watched this movie over 100 times on VHS tape as a kid, and even though I still enjoy watching it today, it is really dated.
Are you ready for pain? Are you ready for suffering? If the answer is yes, then you're ready for Captain Freedom's workout.
This movie is clearly straight out of 1987. Now I know remakes of Schwarzenegger movies are usually a really dumb idea, but a new R-rated Running Man would be fantastic. I'd say keep the whole 80s look and feel, but update it just a little with better CGI and much scarier bad guys. Because, come on, Dynamo? Number 5. Maximum Overdrive. Hey, that rhymes. Now, this is a bit of a stretch. Maximum Overdrive was written and also directed by Stephen King, and it wasn't a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. He's a brilliant writer, but he couldn't direct his way out of a brown paper bag. But this is one of those movies that's so bad that it becomes fun to watch.
We made you! We made you! Oh, we made you! We made you!
Plus, the entire soundtrack is AC/DC. The movie is about people at a truck stop that are being terrorized by cars and trucks that have come to life. The premise is so simple, and that's why this needs to be an R-rated horror with lots and lots of comedy.
Honey, come on over here, sugar buns. This machine just called me an asshole.
That would be the only way this would work. Just keep it fun, like From Dusk Till Dawn. Very violent, but with killer trucks instead of vampires. That's my take on any new Stephen King movies and shows. I would also like to see a new miniseries of The Stand, but that was a little too on the nose. There's so much to choose from, and everybody has some personal connection with at least one of his movies. Let me know in the comments which Stephen King movie you'd like to see redone today. I'll see you next time.